All right, we're breaking it down this morning. Here's former Republican Lieutenant Governor of New York and New York Post columnist Betsy McCaughey. Nice to have you back. And Christine Quinn, the Executive Committee Chair of the New York State Democratic Party and former City Council Speaker. She's also President and CEO of WIN, New York's largest homeless services organization. Nice to have you both here.
Thank you.
Did we get together again? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
We haven't seen each other in a long time.
I love it. All right, who won? Who won? Christine, you go first.
I don't think anybody won because it was a food fight. For lack of a better description, and I think it was hard. When debates turn like that, it's hard for there really to be a winner because you're left with no message and not really able to hear what was going on.
All right, so Betsy,
I think there was a winner, and for young people watching who may be on their high school or college debate teams, or even younger than that, there was a lesson to be learned from this. There was a lot of important information last night. But one person seemed to rise to the top in terms of an image of power and competence, and it had less to do with words than with demeanor. It was Nikki Haley, and what I saw was this. Every time she was challenged by one of the other debaters, she would pivot her entire body toward the challenger, lock eyes with the challenger, and then begin to answer the issue. And that was such a powerful gesture, which she repeated several times, and I thought, she's conveying so much strength in her body language, something we could all do if we're ever in a position like that.
But Betsy, is that enough strength to lead her to the presidential nomination? Because right now, percentage points, it's just almost impossible.
This was almost a dry run for 2028 because the real action right now is in Detroit between Donald Trump and Joe Biden vying for the votes of the auto workers. And so last night I looked at this stage and I thought, most people would rather just see three people up there, the three leaders, Ramaswamy, DeSantis, and Nikki Haley. But in all fairness, two of them are going to have a very hard time maintaining their relevance till 2028 because they're not in an office.
And the other thing
I was going to ask you real fast. Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, most people, you said most people, but most people don't even want Donald Trump or President Biden.
Right.
So what's happening now?
Well, even though that's true in the statistics, there also shows in the data and the polling that Donald Trump's beating everybody on that stage. So polls can be confusing and voters can kind of think two things at the same time that don't make sense, and I think that's what's happening. And I agree it was kind of an audition for 2028. I also think
maybe audition for the vice president role.
That's the other thing. I think it was for some of them an audition to be Donald Trump's vice president, and that became clear very quickly. And he likes that kind of chaotic, combative attitude. So I think that's one of the reasons we saw so much of it.
Well, there was some good lines last night.
Good lines and also a lot of information.
Okay, so Chris Christie, he might have had the best line.
Donald Duck, right?
Right, he might have had the best line.
Yeah.
Right.
Does it stick?
I don't think so because, you know, Chris Christie seems to convey a kind of meanness and nastiness. People can't quite get over that.
But so does Donald Trump sometimes. He also has nicknames for everybody.
Well, we'll have to see in the coming weeks if they call him Donald Duck, but I don't think any person in Trump's position would have appeared at that debate last night, as Christine already pointed out.
And I think Christie has a lot of baggage. A lot of baggage from, you know, Bridgegate, et cetera. So there's only so far he can go before the Trump people just dump all over him, and it sticks.
Let me ask about his delivery in that Donald Duck thing, because I saw this on Twitter, and people were just like, that's the best you got. How he delivered it was Donald Duck.
Right.
And he was waiting for a laugh and applause.
I wouldn't want to debate you. You got a lot of good gestures.
Well, because I'm just saying the way you delivered it, that's why it won't stick, because you didn't deliver it well enough.
Well, Jen Psaki said on Twitter this morning, the way to deliver a planned one-liner in a debate is to make it not look like a planned one-liner. And he was kind of like, here it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't work.
Good point. A lot of important information came out last night. Despite some controversial issues, most of the focus was on the border
and
on the economy, two areas where the current president His approval ratings can't break 30% in the latest ABC poll. So people are looking for remedies, different approaches. And even though most people viewing last night doubted that any of these people would be the candidate for president, they wanted to hear what should be done.
You know, Christine, I know you're involved with the Democratic Party here. Is this the border? Is this going to be a real game changer for New York? You know, everybody says Biden just assumes New York is going to vote blue despite whatever happens here. Is there concern? I heard there is concern in the next election.
There's obviously concern about the border in New York because we're helping and taking care of a lot of folks who were sent here by the governor of Texas. That said, as New Yorkers, one, we're big-hearted and we are doing the right thing. Two, we know that things will only get worse if one of those candidates or Donald Trump is president again. And when the talk of the border last night, if you really listened to it, it was all rhetorical. There was no real plans put out that would address immigration in a comprehensive way. And a lot of the conversation about the border was about fentanyl, and fentanyl is not coming through the southern border.
Well,
it's coming through the
patrol that is saying something
there are
different to
things
that.
we can do. We can close the border. We can complete the wall and enforce the border. All nations need borders. And I don't think New York is doing the right thing by offering people who come from the border free rooms, food, health care, legal services, schooling. And now work authorizations. We're just inviting more.
But the mayor's person is going down to the border now. Did you hear
yes,
this?
wait a second. And Mayor Adams has already announced that he is making serious cuts to all the services in New York. Why should people who have lived here their whole lives, paid their taxes, now have less police protection, less transportation, less schooling, less of everything because of these people who are coming in?
First of all, Betsy, these folks did not come here. They were sent here by the governor of Texas.
Not true.
Betsy, I didn't
Not
interrupt
true.
you. Try not to act like your brothers and sisters last night. I didn't interrupt you. They've sent, I know, because I'm working with them. I'm housing them. Two, what you just laid out is so inhumane to individuals who are fleeing violence and crime and poverty we can't even imagine. We have 700 children who've come here with their parents seeking asylum. We're not going to turn our back on them. We're just not going to do it.
I love how you said that New Yorkers are
to the people
big-hearted.
in New York, including the homeless and the veterans who need help. We take care of our own
We can do it
first.
all.
No, we can't.
Well, we can't do it all. We don't have unlimited funds.
We don't have unlimited
And
funds.
the mayor's people are going down to the border today with a flyer saying basically
Don't
we have
come.
no more room and New York is unaffordable. And Christine, you know, you work here. Can you afford to live anywhere you want to? I know that where I'm living now is not my first choice.
If we put in different policies, we could be serving the asylum seekers in a way in which we would be saving potentially as much as $3 billion. We have to stop putting out fear tactics and focus on the changes in housing policy that'll save money.
Well, we can talk about this all day long.
Forever,
We're
yeah.
out of time because, I mean, it's such a contentious issue and there's a lot of different points to be heard on it.
Christine Quinn, Betsy McCaughey, thank you for
Good to
both being
see
here.
you.
All right, we'll have you guys back.
Okay.
And we'll talk maybe just the border.
We'll talk just
That in
border.
itself,
there we go.
I think so.
agree.